greatness is not reserved for the elite. With discipline, belief, and the right knowledge, we become the best we can be.
Georges St Pierre is a globally renowned mixed martial artist born in Canada, Montreal in 1981. He has gone on to forge one of the most successful careers in MMA history and is widely considered as one of the greatest to ever do it. It is a testament to this man's status within the game that he is still credibly called out by UFC champions like Khabib Nurmagomedov and Kamaru Usman. That these fights are still viewed as the competitive pinnacle for these fighters today speaks volumes and helps validate claims that GSP is the GOAT. Most of what GSP did during his career is well known by many, and his fame stretches far beyond Canada and North America. However, less well known is the early path that a young George took, leading him onto the road he ultimately walked. Beyond that, there are some interesting facts about the champion throughout his illustrious career in the UFC. So without delay, let's jump straight into the top 10 things you didn't know about GSP. Number 1. What initially led GSP to find mixed martial arts? George was always athletic as a child and participated in a number of sports, including ice hockey and skating. In an interview in 2006, he explained that he had also grown up in a very rough area. The future champion would have his clothes and money stolen regularly. His father began training him in karate at 7 years old. At 12 years old, he was forced to choose between hockey and karate. His parents did not have enough money for both sports, but were keen to keep him off the streets. Due to the fact karate helped him deal with his bullying problems, he decided to focus on karate instead. Number 2. His karate teacher died, forcing GSP to evolve on his path. At the young age of 13, GSP earned his second-degree black belt in Kyokushin karate. Sadly, around this time, his karate teacher died and the future Hall of Famer decided to start training in Muay Thai. During this time, he watched UFC 1 with Royce Gracie and Ken Shamrock. He was so amazed, he decided at that moment that MMA would be his path. Due to a lack of jiu-jitsu schools in Montreal, he continued with Muay Thai while also getting his third-degree belt in karate. At 16, he finally found a jiu-jitsu class, and by 18, was also wrestling and boxing. The relevance of this early evolution will be discussed later in the video. Number 3. GSP had to work many different jobs to support his early dreams of glory. While consistently training throughout his teenage years and coming from a family that was not comfortable financially, St. Pierre needed to work in some interesting roles in his teens. Not only did he need to pay for rent and normal life, but also for university fees and training. This meant he had to work hard, holding down 3 jobs in the process. He was a garbage man for 6 months, worked in recovery for a store, and was also a bouncer for a club in Montreal called the Fuzzy Bazaar. These struggles helped form the man who would eventually be considered the greatest of all time. Number 4. GSP rose through the scene faster than most now remember. One of the less celebrated facts about GSP is the speed at which he conquered the MMA landscape. He made his professional debut in January 2002. He fought 4 times in the UCC, achieving 4 finishes in the space of a year that showed us all the versatility he would later use to command the crown. Strikes, armbar, ground and pound, rear naked choke. He was signed to the UFC after just 1 year as a professional in 2003, and by 2006 had won the most coveted strap at 170 pounds. This was all accomplished in less than 5 years from his initial debut. Number 5. GSP had to go backwards before he went forwards. We have just discussed the amazingly rapid rise of the welterweight king in less than 5 years. What is less known to the casual fan is that he actually could have achieved the feat of champion status in only half the time. GSP was set up to fight Hughes in only his 3rd UFC fight at UFC 50 for the vacated title. He ended up losing the fight by submission with only seconds left of the first round. The fact he was able to accomplish so much in only 2.5 years as a professional is quite an astounding achievement in anybody's book. Number 6. GSP missed his first shot at redemption. Having lost his first title fight against Matt Hughes, the journey remained challenging all the way up to his eventual redemption in November 2006. He was actually due to fight Matt for the second time in September of 2006 at UFC 63. When he pulled out with a groin injury, the fight took place with BJ Penn stepping in for him. GSP was actually at the event still. He was supporting his teammate David Lussault, who was fighting Matt Swick on the same card. It was at this event that GSP entered the cage after the welterweight main event and famously said, "I am not impressed with your performance." Just under 3 months later, the first part of GSP's journey was complete. Number 7. GSP was inspired, like many born in the 1980s, by Jean-Claude Van Damme. Films like Kickboxer and Bloodsport opened the eyes of many youngsters to the excitement of competitive combat. There is no doubt that as the UFC grew through the late 90s and early 2000s, a large part of that audience was people who fit into that category. It was something they had always recognized from the film genre within the evolving new sport. On this point, GSP was no different. He later starred alongside GCVD in the movie Kickboxer Vengeance, stating that it was a dream come true to perform alongside someone who inspired him so much. Number 8. GSP has actually held 4 belts in the UFC organization. It is clear from his status as a potential GOAT in MMA history that titles and title defenses were a main part of his exploits. However, he actually won 4 titles in total. He won the undisputed belt in 2006 for the first time and again in April 2008. The 2008 win was especially rewarding for GSP as it was the first UFC event held in Canada. Crowning a Canadian champion was a great moment for the whole country. However, sandwiched in between those great feats, GSP actually picked up an interim title at UFC 79. When the fight between Matt Serra and Matt Hughes was canceled due to an injury to the current champion, GSP stepped in and was victorious in the second round. The 4th belt came in 2017 with victory over Michael Bisping. Number 9. GSP is an Avenger. It is not widely noted that GSP was an Avenger during his career. No, we don't mean his very cool cameo appearance in the Marvel Avengers movie, where he went toe-to-toe with Captain America. We mean in relation to his UFC career specifically. This may be the only case of a fighter having avenged more than one loss in a title fight, by winning the return title fight against the same opposition. Having lost to Matt Hughes by armbar at UFC 50, he won via armbar at UFC 63. Then having lost to Matt Serra at UFC 69, he avenged that loss almost 2 years to the day later at UFC 83. Number 10. GSP has trained with the best of the best in order to be the best of the best. We have already outlined the incredible variation in disciplines GSP experimented with before he turned 21. That ethos continued throughout his career and is one of the main contributors to his success in the game. He obtained a brown belt in Jiu-Jitsu from Renzo Gracie in 2006 and a black belt under Bruno Fernandez in 2008. He spent a large part of his career between the best MMA bases in the world. Firstly at Greg Jackson's submission fighting Gaido Jutsu school in New Mexico, then with Firas Sahabid at Tristar in Montreal. He also trained boxing under the great Freddie Roach and Muay Thai under Phil Nurse at the Watt in New York City. With all that experience, it is no wonder that GSP continually evolved with the game, helping maintain a strong grip of dominance over his division. He has stated many times that he loves training more than fighting. This curiosity with martial arts as a whole has served him well. It has also kept him in shape while inactive, which allowed him to come back and beat Michael Bisping for the middleweight crown at the end of 2017. It is why fighters can still credibly call him out today and expect him to be as good, if not better, than he was before. It is why he is considered the GOAT. Well, that is it for our list. We hope you enjoyed the video and we managed to teach you something new about GSP. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and turn on post notifications to get new MMA content daily.